Alright, so welcome to part 5 of my How to Stop Hating Tekken Characters series. Today we're going to talk about Leo. I've been wanting to do Leo for a little while, mostly because I wanted to spend some time with the character in the lab and kind of figure them out for myself. I've spent many hours with Leo in the lab now, and I figured I've gathered enough information to where I can maybe start making a video on this shit and how to beat this character. But also, just to express a few things about the character. So, typical character breakdown, just to start the video off, is Leo is a very strong character in Tekken 8. No question about it. One of the strongest characters in general, I'd say. But is he broken? Fuck no. Absolutely not. Is he balanced? I'd say quite balanced, yeah. Leo is one of those characters that a lot of people seem to have problems with. Mostly because, A, hardly anybody plays the fucking characters, so you don't really see them online very much. So when you do run into a Leo, all the knowledge you've gained over the myriad of matches that you've had versus other Leo players pretty much goes right out the fucking window, because they're few and far between. You see one Leo every couple of weeks, pretty much. At least I do. A couple of things to mention about Leo is they got the third best jab range in the game, next to only Dragunov and Fang. Leo has a jab that hits at range 2.14 against Xiaoyu, which is significant considering how far away Xiaoyu stands naturally in neutral. When you first start the round, Leo's jab will connect at range 2.14. So that's significant considering Fang's is the second best and it connects at range 2.15 and Dragunov's connects at range 2.2. Pretty much any jab that connects after range 2 is really fucking good. Leo also has a down forward 2 that tracks really well to sidestep left and has some pretty decent phantom tracking to sidestep right. And it's got insane range. If you hit it, if you try to do down forward 2 with Leo at the perfect tip range, it's almost impossible for a lot of characters in the game to punish that. So Leo's a very strong character, and a smart Leo is going to take advantage of concepts like that, you know, spacing out the down forward 2 just perfectly that it ends up being safe. It's hard to do that because the range of that move is so good, it actually pushes Leo forward, so you really have to know a lot about character hurt boxes and exactly how far away you need to stand with Leo to make that move safe, but it is possible. And especially with Kazuya, I've got back 1. My back 1-2 is the appropriate punish for Leo's down forward 2, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Right now, I want to talk about the first thing we're going to go into is Leo's faux boost stance mix-ups. There's not a whole lot of mix-ups in the faux boost stance, but what I'm talking about is this stance right here, the one where he kind of like bends down and then does a move, right? So there's a myriad of different moves that Leo can do in this stance. Back 3-1 is a pretty great way for Leo to transition into the stance because it leaves the opponent at, well, if the opponent blocks it, Leo's still safe. If they get hit by it, Leo's at +3 and goes into stance. So once Leo's in crouching stance, there's nothing you can really do to interrupt Leo here as far as trying to mash. You can obviously power crush, but the best thing I like to do is just straight up counter hit, interrupt. A lot of the moves you can even just counter hit, interrupt Leo after you eat the back 3-1. Faux boost stance is pretty damn slow, so if you block that move, you know, back 3-1, and you see Leo go into faux boost stance, just try and do a counter hit and try to launch her out of this, or him out of this. It's a pretty standard, straightforward piece of counterplay for the character. So, the other thing I like to do with this is sidestep left, or like a hefty sidestep left into block. You can also try side walking. It'll beat that move, the uppercut, but it gets hit by that move and that move. So there's a couple of moves that Leo can do out of stance that sidestep left into block or sidewalk left into block does defeat. That move for 1, Fobu 2, Fobu 4. That's the uppercut again. And then, come on, Leo, do the other shit. Yeah, Fobu 1+2 is the heat engager. But Fobu 1-2 will clip you here. It's got fucking fantastic tracking. The thing is, that is minus 14 on block, which is why I think if you want to be defensive, hefty sidestep left into block is your best bet, because it covers all bases. So, he's got a homing move out of this stance that's +5 on block that you can duck if you see it coming, but a lot of the time you're not going to. So, just keep in mind that when you see Leo go into stance like that, and you've blocked the first 2 hits, you can then interrupt with a counter hit of your own. So I'm going to do my 15 frame move that you would do just to interrupt anybody at this point. Everyone's got a 15 frame-ish launcher, or at least a move that they can interrupt with. Good stance, but has a ton of counterplay options available to it. Just this alone is so good. The fact that I can just counter hit, or I can power crush, and either option will beat everything that he tries to do from that stance. The other way that a lot of Leo players like to transition into Fobu is forward 3 into hold down, and you get Fobu stance. In this instant, sidestep right into block is your best friend. It will beat most options that Leo can do out of this stance, including if you try to like sidestep right into duck even. You'll beat out the homing move. You'll get clipped by the heat engager. So sidestep right into block is your best option here. Because no matter what Leo does, you'll either dodge it or you'll block the second hit of this unsafe string that Leo's gonna do, and then you'll be able to punish it. Because remember, Fobu 1-2, which is very good tracking to both sides, is minus 14 on block, so you do get a hefty punish if you block that. So you do have options to beat the stance. I'd say no matter what, whenever you see Leo go into Fobu stance, just sidestep right into block. Sidestep right into block will dodge the majority of her moves, or his moves. What the fuck is Leo? I don't know, gender neutral, who gives a fuck? The gender neutral representative of the Tekken cast. That's Leo. I'm just gonna use the they, them pronouns. Fuck it. I'm tired of trying to figure out which gender they are. Anyways, that's the trick to Leo. So, with the Fobu stance, anyways, sidestep right into block will beat out the options. If they just transition into Fobu naturally, then you can interrupt. If they transition into Fobu with back 3-1, like we saw earlier, you can interrupt guaranteed everything that the Leo wants to do after that. Your down forward 2, no matter what character you use, is going to, or whatever mid launcher you have that hits kind of low. If you can hit Leo out of the stance, in between hits, after they transition into Fobu stance, then you're pretty good to go. You'll pretty much guarantee yourself a counter hit. So that covers the Fobu stance. The counter hit, the counter play is interrupt or sidestep right into block. You can sometimes sidewalk left the majority of the moves. Just keep in mind you have to avoid, watch out for the homing move, and Fobu 1-2, which has very strong tracking. So there is no option select for the Fobu stance, but you can still. It's almost like it has an option select available to it, where you just, one option beats everything, right? That's what an option select is. I know I have to explain that every video. Some people don't know what an option select is. Option select means that no matter what the option is, no matter what Leo wants to go for in their arsenal, your one option will option select all of them, right? So it covers all bases. So my down forward 2, or my side step right in the block will beat out Leo's. It's an option select for the majority of Leo's moves from this stance. There's the Fobu stance. Next up, I want to discuss the Jinji Duli stance. This one's a little trickier to defend against. It's this bitch right here. The stance that you see Leo go into after forward 4. Forward 4 with Leo is the knee there. And Leo's got a bunch of options out of this stance. 6 options in total, really. So, Gingy Dooley 1+2. Gingy Dooley 1. Gingy Dooley 3. I'm just going to say Gingy stance. Gingy stance 2. Gingy stance 3+4. Gingy 4. You know, so there's Gingy 1, Gingy 4 again. So, yeah, Leo's got 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1+2, and 3+4 as options out of that stance, right? And you can't option select this stance at all. There is no option select for this stance. Most definitely not. This is the harder stance to deal with of the two, because Leo can transition into this stance so easily with a 17-frame mid that's got, you know, it's not the worst move in the game. It's got no tracking to it whatsoever, but if you do the correct counterplay for Leo, which is sidestep right anything anyways, if you have a read on the opponent's timing, then a good sidestep right will get Leo out of the stance, right? And I'd say just down forward 2, counter hit, or a mid launch there, because if you guess wrong, then you eat that sweep that you just saw there. Gingy 3+4. Pretty scary stance, because as you can see here, if I try to duck, I might get launched by Gingy 3. If I stand up, I get hit by those lows, right? But he's got a bunch of other highs from stance that keep me from sidestepping as well. Plus, keep in mind, I'm at -9 here. Fortunately, Leo doesn't have any 10-frame moves out of the stance. Leo's got the fastest move that Leo can do out of Gingy stance is Gingy 1, which I think, no, Gingy 2, which is a 13-frame counter hit high launcher. And it's got very good tracking, so you can't really sidestep that move at all. Leo is essentially not +9 in that stance. Leo's basically +6, because the fastest move Leo can do is 13 frames. So, just keep that in mind for yourself. But, can you interrupt Leo out of the stance? Nah, not really. Sometimes, depending on, like, if Leo does Gingy 1+2 or Gingy 3+4, you can interrupt. But anything else? No. So that's not an option select. What about sidestepping left? Sidestep left avoids a lot of the moves. Sidestep left avoids Gingy 1. Gets clipped by Gingy 3+4 and Gingy 4. That's got actually fantastic tracking. Both the lows in this stance have great fucking tracking. So, as you can see here, come on, man, do a different fucking move besides those ones. Yeah, even the 1+2 tracks. And you can't sidestep that move. So basically, when you see Leo transition into Gingy stance, stay fucking put. Don't try sidestepping, because yes, you could potentially sidestep some of the moves that Leo's going to do out of that stance, but for the most part, you're going to get killed most of the time. So what you have to do in this scenario is you can power crush, but then you get hit by the lows, obviously. So the other option would be, I'd say, potentially, you can dick jab. But the issue is, when you try to dick jab, it beats every option except for the hop kick, which I was waiting for. So, and that's probably the most dangerous move in that stance, as everybody knows. Now, you can punish everything out of this stance more or less, okay? It is possible to punish everything out of this stance. Even Gingy 1+2, which is, that move there, it's only -6, but it's susceptible to sidestep right. That hop kick is a pain in the ass to try to punish, because you never know if Leo's going to go for the second option, or the second hop kick. And this low is only -12. So you can obviously duck under and launch the highs, and no matter what high they do. But this stance truly is a... You can sidestep left the hop kick as well, by the way. But the stance truly is a scary one, considering how many options Leo has out of the stance, and how easy it is for Leo to transition into it. punishing that hop kick is not easy, which makes this stance easily Leo's best move, best thing to use in the neutral. Forward 4 into Gingy stance is fucking strong, because your opponent has to guess every option that you're going to do. If they guess right, Leo could potentially die, and if they guess wrong, I mean, they get some damage dealt to them. They could potentially die if they end up ducking the stance and you launch them with a hop kick, but every other move in that stance is not all that scary. Like, what do we got to do? Like, let's just get hit by these moves real quick. So the hop kick, very scary, obviously. 1+2, who gives a fuck? I don't care if I get hit by that. The damage is not all that significant. That's a counter hit launcher. Gingy 2, the fast 13-frame move. A +4 low that does barely any damage to me is not all that scary. So that's the trade-off to this stance. Yes, it's very hard to deal with, but the moves that come out of the stance aren't that terrifying, right? It's a very balanced stance in that regard, because you do have options to completely destroy Leo out of the stance, but you basically have to guess correctly. So let's just try a couple of different things here. I'm going to just jab into... Yeah, so there's the counter hit launcher. No matter what, I can interrupt with jab as long as Leo doesn't do Gingy 2. And Gingy 3+4 will also go under my jab. So those two moves, Gingy 2 and Gingy 3+4, tricky to deal with. So maybe Power Crush is the best option here, because, well, even then, Power Crush still gets fucked up by Gingy 2. You still get counter hit there. Typically for Leo, you want to sidestep right in Leo's face. When I'm at about this range, you know, range 0 to range, you know, 2-ish, right about here, sidestep right is your best friend. Leo in the neutral is very susceptible to sidestep right. Even when he's doing like forward 4, like I said earlier, right? You can just sidestep the forward 4 and then immediately launch, right? You do have to time it correctly though, because if the Leo delays their timing a little bit, you're fucked. You get clipped by the forward 4. Leo's got some crazy shit from that stance, but nothing too ridiculous that makes that stance outright broken. You basically have to just, your options are, like I said, sidestep left, potentially jab interrupt. If you think they're gonna go for Gingy 2 or Gingy 3+4, then duck is your best friend, because you can launch punish both those moves. So try sidestepping left into duck at first and seeing exactly what the Leo player does. But keep in mind, like, there's 6 options out of that stance, and out of the 6 options that Leo has, you can beat 4 of them, I think, with jab interrupt. So you cover 2/3 of the basis of that stance with just a simple jab interrupt. Or Power Crush. A lot of the characters in the game that have safe heat engager Power Crushes, you know, Fang, Victor, Azucena, you know, I think, fucking, who else has a Shaheen, that type of shit. Those characters are fucking stupid because they have an inherent advantage at being able to just Power Crush safely, no matter what the issue is. So, I'd say spam the shit out of those Power Crushes when you see Leo go into Gingy stance with forward 4, that transition. Just hold block and see what they like to do at a Gingy stance. A lot of players will autopilot you. A lot of players will just turn off their brain and will like to just knowledge check you with the stance in general by doing a couple of the moves out of stance, but they'll very rarely use all 6 moves and mix them up quite, you know, thoroughly. So it's a tricky stance to deal with, but it's not impossible to beat. And the moves out of it, besides Gingy 2 on counter hit and the hop kick, are not all that scary. Its bark is worse than its bite, I would say, for this stance, but there you go. So, sidestep left will beat some options, jab interrupt will beat some options, ducking beats some options, Gingy 1, Gingy 2, Gingy 3+4, Gingy 4, you know, so ducking will beat 4 options as well, but then you still get fucked up by Gingy 1+2, and even worse, you get fucked up by the hop kick, which launches you for full combo, and Leo's combos are nuts. So, I'd say the one major point to say out of this is, unless you're extremely confident that they're gonna go for a high or a low, do not duck when Leo goes into the stance. Yeah, I'm evading all of Leo's shit right now, but there you go, I just got hit. And the moment that he goes for the hop kick, I'm pretty fucked. Of course, you know, Leo's kind of fucked if they go for the 3+4, but ducking is beating a lot of the options here. But the second that Leo goes for the hop kick, you're going to immediately regret ducking in that scenario. So make sure you, this stance is very hard read based. How to beat this stance, get a hard read on your opponent, figure out exactly what they like to do out of this stance, and then respond appropriately. You can sidestep, you can duck, you can jab interrupt, you can power crush interrupt. You know, you can punish after blocking or ducking certain things. It has counterplay. It's just, it's a bit of a mind fuck, a bit of a mind game, so. There's the Gingy stance for Leo. Alright, next up I want to talk about Leo's neutral tools. Just the concepts, the moves that you'll see a lot of the time in the neutral standard Leo shit that you'll see. So, starting off the list, we got Leo's down forward 2. One of the best down forward 2s in the fucking game, no question about it. 15 frames to impact, ridiculous range. The range is a lot better than you think. Like, look at that range. It's fucking crazy. It has phantom tracking to sidestep right there. You really shouldn't be tracking the sidestep right at all, but it can clip you. As you can see there, I'm blocking it. But let's just let a sidestep rip. Okay. Okay. Sidestep too early there. Again, too early. You really have to read. It's crazy. Okay, so if you're in his face, get up in his face, and then block the jab, and then try sidestepping right. Yeah. If you're a little bit further away, though, you might need to sidestep right into block. Jesus fuck. Yeah, this move's really good. It's pretty fucking good, man. Now, keep in mind, I'm Kazuya right now. So I'm not trying to over-exaggerate how good that down forward 2 is. If you don't play Kazuya and you play a different character with a better sidestep, which is most of the cast, aside from the big-ass characters, you know, King, Brian, Jack, Kuma, Panda, obviously. Those characters have worse sidesteps than Kazuya. Brian's is about as bad. But Kazuya has a regular, normal-sized male hitbox, and yet his sidestep is just really trash. So don't just take this into consideration when watching this video and thinking, oh, that down forward 2 is broken. It's really fucking good, but it's not as busted as it looks on screen. Kazuya's sidestep is just fucking gutter trash. So, Leo has a very solid advantage over Kazuya for that reason alone. Just the down forward 2 is a lot more effective against Kazuya because his sidestep sucks ass. So the only thing I can really do is wait for the down forward 2 to come out and then punish appropriately. Fortunately, it's -13, so if I block it, I get my heat engager. But if I don't time my sidestep absolutely fucking perfectly, and I'm not at the right exact range when sidestepping, this move will fuck my life up. It just does. It has phantom tracking that almost realigns itself once you're at a specific range. And don't even try to sidestep this move left. It doesn't happen. You cannot sidestep this move left. You can sidewalk it left at a specific range, but you cannot sidestep left. It's not possible. Even sidewalking left at specific ranges is tough. So, yeah. Yeah. So don't even bother. Don't even bother sidestepping down forward 2 left. But it's -13 on block, so block it and punish or sidestep right in Leo's face as per the typical Leo counterplay. So there's the down forward 2. The down forward 1. I believe, is also linear to sidestep right. This is why the Leo counterplay is sidestep right in Leo's face. Keep your distance, sidestep right in the face. That's typical Leo counterplays. Keep this range, because as you can see, you know, Leo's shit is whipping, and then I get to fucking launch with whatever I want. And of course, typical Leo fashion, sidestep left doesn't really work. For some reason, Leo's down forward 1, which is a move on Leo's left side of his body, is susceptible to sidestep right, but not sidestep left. It's a totally bizarre scenario, because in Tekken, typically, like 80% of the time, when a character is hitting with a specific limb, you sidestep that move, whatever the limb may be, to the opposite direction of where the limb is. So if Leo's using his left arm, you want to sidestep that move to the left, typically, right? Because that's just the way that you would avoid it. The left arm is where the left arm is. I'm sidestepping in this direction. The move should just bypass and hit the air, right? But it doesn't with Leo. You have to sidestep right, unfortunately. Counterintuitive counterplay because Leo's a tricky bitch. But that's just the way that some characters are. There's a bunch of characters that have down forward 1s that are like that as well. Raven's got a ridiculous down forward 1, for example, that hits both directions, tracks very well to both sides, but it's 14 frames. Leo's down forward 1 is 13 frames. Fucking phenomenal down forward 1, only -1 on block, 13 frames to impact. One of the best down forward 1s in the game, no question about it. You can see on hit 2, the move is +7. So you can't do shit. If Leo hits you with down forward 1, you gotta stand there and take whatever the fucking mix-up comes out next. Leo's down forward 1. Fucking epic down forward 1. But again, sidestep right will beat the down forward 1. Let's do Leo's 1-2-4 string. This is a scrub killer. A lot of players eat this shit for breakfast. I can't really punish this Kazuya with the twin pistons because this move is kind of bullshit. The best option I have is either Tsunami kicks, or obviously I can low parry, because it's -13 on block. A lot of characters have decent 13 frame punishers that are pretty decent with range too. Kazuya's is a launcher, but due to the pushback this move gives, Leo is safe from getting launched by Kazuya. So Leo, again, like I said earlier, bad matchup for Kazuya. Very unfair. A lot of Leo's shit just outright kills Kazuya, just because of the characters that they are. So, very, very intense matchup, because I can't even fucking twin pistons a -13 on block low that he's got. So you have to either low parry that shit or block it and then do your 11 frame punish. But stop eating this shit. A lot of players eat the fucking 4. There's nothing else that can come out after Leo does 1-2. Just duck automatically, because the next thing that Leo could do is either a high or a low. They're either going to go for another move that's a high, that's a punch, 1-2-1, 1+2 or some shit, I think, or 1-2-1-1. I don't remember what it is, or 1-2-4. Either way, duck and you beat both options. That's an option select for this string here, and it's not a natural combo. So if you get hit by the 1-2. You can still duck and deal with the 4, and it's fine. So, not that big of a deal, but a lot of players eat this string, and it's a very good string, considering it's +3 on hit. So, it's a momentum-building low. Don't let Leo get away with that, otherwise you're just eating shit for no reason. Down 2+3, my opinion is that this move is Leo's best move. Best neutral tool, I would say. Down 2+3. Fucking ridiculous move, because it high crushes immediately. Obviously I can low parry, but it high crushes right away, and it's got really decent amount of tracking to it. Again, you want to sidestep Leo to the right. Even if you try sidestepping left, the move can still clip you. So, you know, considering how linear this move is supposed to be, it shouldn't have any tracking whatsoever, and it has a little bit of tracking to both sides. That's fucked up. That's fucking stupid. It needs to be just linear as shit. All the Leo mains, Chad, I'm talking to you right now, bro. I love you, but you said some shit the other day in one of your videos that Leo's weakness is that Leo is linear. Leo's got a lot of fucking tracking and a lot of neutral tools and stance tools. So where exactly is the linearity in this character? I don't know. Like, you can't sidestep left for the majority of Leo's tools, so he's not linear to that side. And sidestep right beats only like 75% of the move list. So, linear? Nah. Susceptible to sidestep right? Sure. But linear as fuck? Hell no. Leo is not linear. And don't let the Leo mains tell you otherwise. Again, I'm not trying to knock the Leo mains or knock the fucking character because I like Leo. I don't have a problem with Leo. I don't think Leo's cheap or broken or any of that shit. But Leo's got a lot of stuff that can definitely be perceived as cheap. And is a very cheeky character in a lot of ways because they get away with some shit that a lot of characters normally wouldn't get away with. So, down 2+3 though. Back to what we were talking about. Down forward 2+3, sorry. Very fucking stupid move. Yeah, it's crazy. So you can't punish this with electric, obviously, because Leo's still in crouching status after the move is complete. The only thing you can do is just get your 11 frame punish for this move. So you can sidestep it or sidewalk it either direction. I think even if you get hit by the jab, you can still sidewalk this move. Maybe not. Maybe not if you get hit by the jab. That's a bit much. It high crushes. It launches on counter hit, as you can see right here. Launches on counter hit. Leo can then pick me up after that for a guaranteed full combo, and it's pretty scary. Very, very strong move. But it's only -12 on block, so if you see this move coming or you block this move at all, while standing 4 is really your only option. Some characters like Dragunov get a pretty decent 12 frame punish for that, like while standing 1-3. But for the most part, most characters just get while standing 4 there. Fucking, that's the definition of an unbalanced move. I think this is the only move in Leo's arsenal I would say is unbalanced. Aside from maybe the heat smash, but we'll talk about that in a little bit here. Very fucking strong move though. So just while standing 4, punish that shit, or low parry it, or you can sidewalk it. Next up, let's talk about Leo's evasive tool. Pretty fucking strong move. Because there's no sidestepping this shit at all, right? You cannot sidestep down. This is down to forward 2+3. It's like Leo's Kenpo, or something that you're gonna do to basically eliminate any type of offense your opponent is going to try to do. It's a get-out-of-jail-free panic tool that it creates an automatic sidestep right scenario. And so what Leo could do is sidestep right into forward 2+3. You get a massive sidestep right and then a safe high knockdown that also wall splats. So good fucking move. You see the Leo going for this a lot, especially on round start. Just duck and launch. A lot of Leo players will like to do this when you're either coming at their face, coming at them and, coming at their gross. And when you're coming at them, or at the start of a round. One of those two scenarios the Leo players love to do forward 2+3. So just duck and launch that shit. Nothing too crazy there. Down back 2-4 is a phenomenal move. It's a heat engager. It's very quick. It's 16 frames to impact. And on top of that, it's safe on block. -9, right? Pretty fucking strong move, but the second hit is a high. So if you see this, duck and launch every time. Very easy to do that. If you can't duck strings, duck highs and strings, this is your next thing to work on. Don't worry about learning how to beat Leo and the matchup knowledge for other characters in the cast. Just learn how to duck strings, duck highs in strings. That's a step you have to learn as a Tekken player before you delve into heavy matchup knowledge. You need to figure out what strings you're familiar with throughout the cast that are all high in the middle of the string, or the second hit or third hit is a high, and then learn how to develop the reaction time to then duck those strings, and then really dive into the character depth and matchup knowledge from there. Once you have that muscle memory built in, it'll be a lot easier for you to develop matchup knowledge and apply those skills in real time. But you got to take these things one step at a time. Don't try to fucking kill yourself by doing too many things at once and learning counterplay on top of matchup knowledge, on top of how to duck a high in a string, on top of being able to punish shit. That's a lot of stuff that, yes, you do need to implement in real time, but it's a one thing at a time basis. So next up, we got back to 1+2. Leo's other heat engager that you'll see a lot of Leo players do. This is typically their 14-frame punish. You know, you wouldn't really see a good Leo throw this out in the neutral, but it's -11 on block. So if you do see a Leo player throw this out randomly, just spam the 4 button until you see the punish come out. Yeah, I'm blocking, now I'm mashing 4. Boom, 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 4 over and over again. Or what I like to do with Kazuya, just 4 into something else. Solid heat engager, but it's supposed to be used specifically as a 14-frame punish. And a lot of lower-level Leo players like Fujin rank and below are gonna be throwing this out in the neutral, just willy-nilly, not realizing that it's -11 on block, and a lot of players don't realize that either. So, there you go, -11 on block, back to 1+2. Scary move, but susceptible to while standing 4 punish. So there you go. Next thing I want to talk about is Leo's other heat engager that a lot of players will just throw out in the neutral. A lot of times I'll just like, say I'm doing something like, I'm going to wave dash in his face. Maybe do a 4-4-3. A lot of Leo players will just like to do, because 4-4-3 puts them in crouch, they do an automatic, just autopilot while standing 4 1+2. That's a heat engager. It's a -12 on block. So, I get this shit for free. Just do your 12-frame punish whenever you see that and you block it. I know heat engagers look kind of scary because they do chip damage and all that shit, but you do get some free damage for it, so make sure you take advantage of that. That's all. Next up, I want to talk about Leo's Hell Sweep. It's essentially Kazuya's on crack. Well, I mean, a lot of players like to pretend that it is anyways. I don't think it's that good. It does less damage than Kazuya's does. I think, or it's comparable at least. It does similar damage. I know I've got counter hit on right now, but mine does 34 damage without counter hit, and Leo's looks like about the same. The reason I say a lot of players think it's Kazuya's on crack is because it's got full tracking to both sides. You cannot sidestep this move right or left, and if you try to sidewalk it, the second hit will realign entirely, no matter which direction you're sidewalking. Even if you try to sidestep right the second move, it will always realign. It's virtually homing. Unless you're playing something like, you know, again, Lily, Alisa, Zafina. Those characters may be able to sidewalk the second hit from realigning. But it's basically a homing move, the second hit, and the first hit too. So this is a homing hell sweep in every sense of the word. So you just gotta either block the second hit or block the first hit, and then punish appropriately. So the issue with this hell sweep though is it's only down back 4, so there's no execution required whatsoever. You can just do it anytime you want. You don't have to. You'll never get like a you know, this type of shit where you'll see an opponent who doesn't really have the greatest execution. They might stagger a little bit, and you'll see something like just Kazuya is going to go for he's going to go for hell sweep because he's, you know, you can see the crouch dash animation, right? With Leo, there's none of that shit. Leo just straight up goes for it, right? So there's no hesitation whatsoever, and the move is 20 frames to impact and immediately high crushes. You can't do anything about the fucking move once they're already in the animation. Full tracking to both sides. The trade-off to make it balanced is it is always launch punishable no matter what. It's -31 on block. I have all fucking day. Look at that. I stood up and I still managed to get the launch punish. Got my full combo damage and everything. So, I think that it's a balanced hell sweep, all things considered. I'd say it's better than Kazuya's, even though Kazuya's can wall splat from certain angles. Leo's never will wall splat. Pretty sure it wall breaks. And obviously there's the extension too. The extension with the install is also launch punishable, I believe. Yeah, so it is launch punishable at -15. That's the gist of it there. So you can launch punish every single hit in that little string that Leo's got. But with the extension, things get pretty scary. You can see the damage stack up pretty good there. And that's for sure a wall break at that point. So, really strong fucking hell sweep. Has a lot of utility, obviously, because it high crushes and it tracks to both sides. It's basically a homing move. So, yeah, amazing hell sweep. But balanced because you can launch all the moves that Leo's gonna do out of that hell sweep. Kind of want to give a little attention to the heat smashes. As you saw there, I can deal with Leo's heat smash by ducking the third hit if they decide to be an idiot and just throw the fucking move out in the middle of nowhere. The other thing I can do for this heat smash is I can sidestep right. And then it's tricky to punish, but, you know. All in all, crazy good heat smash. 16 frames to impact. Hard to punish because once Leo does the whole thing, he's all the way on the other side of the map. It's really difficult to launch that unless you have a mid launcher. So that's all I can really do. But it's also +8 on block. If they choose to do it in the neutral, just out of nowhere, just wait for the whole thing to finish and then give them a good launch for good measure. Right? So, you know, you've got options once that Leo decides to do that shit. It is, you know, it's an annoying heat smash. It does +8 on block, pretty decent chip damage. It wall splats for a full combo, which I think is absurd, so it automatically elevates it to one of the best heat smashes in the game, because not only does it do the full 50 damage that a lot of heat smashes already do, but it wall splats and then Leo can get up to 100 damage plus off of that heat smash, just from one fucking wall splat. So, a little bit too good, in my opinion. Not necessarily broken, because like I said, the counterplay that's available to it, you can sidestep right. And then the other thing that you can do against it is duck the third hit if they decide to randomly throw it out in the neutral as a way to pressure you from the other side of the screen. Some players do that. I'm not saying it's a good idea. Some people may be watching this video going, what the fuck, what kind of scrubby ass bitch is gonna do it? Dude, don't tell me you've never seen a Leo just throw this shit out in, you know, at range 4 or some shit while you're backdashing away. They don't know what else to do, so they just say, fuck it, let's heat smash. At least I know it's gonna be, it'll still be something in my favor. I'm still just a wall of moves coming at you. You know, it's intimidating to anybody. But a good player will see this shit and then boom. Kill the person for attempting such stupid trash. So, you know, very good heat smash, but it has counterplay available to it. The other heat smash, though, not quite as intuitive to counterplay this shit, because Leo does it from the stance, the Jinji stance, that is otherwise a pretty ridiculous stance, and it's only -13 on block. So it's a low, it does a lot of damage. It doesn't do a lot of damage, I mean. It does a lot of damage. No, it does fuck all. It's about as good as Kazuya's heat smash, which is terrible. But you do have to acknowledge the fact that you cannot sidestep this move unless you don't get hit by by a move at all during the transition. You know what I mean? When they're going into stance. If I block the forward 4 here, I can't sidestep it. But if I don't block the forward 4, I'm free to go. The one thing you got to make sure of it during that scenario there is when it comes to the Jinji stance and the Fobu stance, all the counterplay that I've said about Leo so far in this video is basically sidestep right and stay at like range 2.5 to 3. Because, you know, 2.5 to 3.5 is pretty decent. You can keep Leo out with a lot of moves. You know, Kazuya's got electric, down forward 2, that type of shit. I can just stand here at this range and wait for Leo to come at me, right? So that's the one bit of counterplay for Leo. Sidestep right defeats 75% of the character's move list. Sidestep right into block, even more so. Leo doesn't have a very good throw game. Just make sure your throw game is on point. One little pointer about Leo's throws is when you're at the wall, make sure you can break 1+2 throws, because Leo's 1+2 throw, when Leo's back is at the wall, be wary of the fact that Leo's going to go for throws, because Leo's 1+2 throw will change sides and then wall splat you at the wall. So to demonstrate that now, as you can see here, full wall splat, full combo. So make sure that you can do fucking 1+2 breaks, because this little trick at the wall is quite scary. Leo is terrifying at the wall. So when they're at the wall and you're pressuring the Leo, just be aware of the fact that they can just grab you at any point with a 1+2 grab and potentially kill you with a massive combo. So, but besides that, Leo's throw game really isn't all that scary. So I think that's about it for Leo. I think that covers pretty much the entire character for the most part. I've talked about their key tools in the neutral, stance tools that they're going to use in the counterplay for the Fobu stance, Jinji stance, and how dangerous that one is, but just the fact that you do have multiple options to defeat several different moves in the stance, and that you know, if Jinji stance has 6 options available to it once Leo's in stance, there's an option select for 4 of those options with sidestep left, 4 more of those options with jab interrupt, 4 more of those options with duck. You know, it varies, but Leo can always make you hesitate once they're in that stance. They're going to be adapting to what you're going to be doing, so try to do the same against them, especially with that specific stance. Besides that, maintaining a distance and sidestepping right when you're in their face, and you'll dodge and mitigate the majority of Leo's move list. So, when it comes to the Hell Sweep, the main thing you want to worry about with Hell Sweep is backdashing. Just stay away from Leo so that certain threats like that are not going to be very prominent for you to deal with. Leo does have ways of getting in on you very quickly, like a Demon Paw, for example. We can show that real quick before I end the video. So you can't sidestep it left, but again, sidestep right. Sidestep right and you beat Leo's entire arsenal, pretty much, more or less. On top of that, Leo's Demon Paw doesn't really have a whole lot of pushback. It's got about as much as Kazuya's does, and it leaves them about as minus in your face. So, you know, Kazuya's Demon Paw is objectively better than Leo's Demon Paw, but Leo's Demon Paw is still a very decent move that can get Leo in your face pretty easily, pretty safely, and then you have to deal with constant Leo pressure if you don't capitalize on the fact that they're -9. Not the hardest bit of counterplay in the game. There are definitely characters with harder counterplay than Leo, but the tricky thing with Leo is that, again, nobody knows the matchup. Hopefully this video helps in that regard. You barely ever see the character, so it's hard to retain that knowledge. Once you've gained it, you don't really get a chance to utilize it because you don't see Leo for another 2 or 3 weeks. And then you've forgotten everything by then. So just, if you need to, come back to this video, recheck what to do against this character, and see if you can't adjust the mistakes that you've been making. Leo's not that bad, very strong character, but seriously not broken, and I think a lot of players overestimate how strong this character actually is. They have some tricky shit, some scary shit, but the character has counterplay available to them in spades. You just have to know what the counterplay is, and that's where the hard part comes into it. Best of luck, I hope the video helps, and yeah. Subscribe, like, and comment. I really appreciate leaving a comment and a like down below for the algorithm, because it helps me out, and YouTube gets to, you know, push my videos out there a little bit more, and more people can see them, and then, you know, I get more subscribers, and then I can do this more often, make more videos and more content. So I'd appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the love and everybody being here all the time. You guys are the tits. So good luck, keep rocking out, and keep gaming.